Good morning. Today I'm going to deal with, since we're in the Halloween spirit, this being October and the autumn is upon us, I'm going to deal with curses and things like that and effects, cause and effects, the reality of what creates this sort of need or this um, power within the possessions or the persons that are utilized. And it goes back to one of the methods. If you ever want to discredit, or if it's just like in the law, if you try to discredit the opposing counsel, and if you can control the opposing counsel, then hey, all the better. If they're not going to do anything about it, or the legality of it is, well, it's like, oh, he's a billionaire, but public counsel for sure to make it fair, for the criminal. So the whole reverse the curse sort of potential, desecrating any strength in order to gain an advantage or justify any sorts of motive or mentality within it. So this goes back to, I mean, there's all sorts, we are all coded for life. I mean, we start out with a propensity and then we're derived into substances through the system and the determining factors. My question is the validity of the system's desecration of a valuable entity in order to distribute power and assets. Therefore, it seems like malicious criminal intent on some parts. I mean, especially when there's a huge cover up as far as burying evidence and different sorts of what the truth of the disclosure of the matter, if you would. And it really is just this whole getting notion of who's in control. I mean, it's like, well, it's $1 billion vehicle, and we got insurance on it, and that insurance is used as a way to, it's actually a business entity in itself because they destroy the $1 billion vehicle through a demolition derby dungeon and then come back and get paid big time for it, and then they're mass producing all sorts of other things. So I'm going to go into this whole, since it's baseball season also, I'm going to, this is a story, it's not a story, this is a reality, but I used to play in this adult baseball league when I was, and it was something I've always enjoyed baseball. So there was a baseball league in Baton Rouge, and I had some friends, and we're like, hey, it's good exercise, it's something to accomplish, so we formed a baseball team. The Indians, I don't know, it was a friend of mine who liked the Indians, and he suggested it. We had light blue jerseys. I mean, I guess you could see through. I mean, if you read into anything, but a lot of times, like I said, there's not. It really. So we formed our team, and there was the league, the adult National Adult Baseball League or something like that. And this was hard pitch, and we got players from all around, and so the league had a draft that you could come in and fill up your rosters because we had to add some more depth to our roster. So we at the end of the thing, we went through the draft, picked up a few other players. We were starting to complete things, and then there was a one player, and I utilize this only because it goes back to this whole JV mentality. And this is how, I mean, the problem is I don't give much credit to this, but this is just an instance of how the mob manipulates intent utilizing certain parameters. So there was a guy named John Vaughn, and he was the last player taken, and we just happened, the numbers stacked, the deck stacked up to where we he played for, we ended up picking him. And to be honest with you, I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that. And the funny part is, remember Ricky Vaughn from Major League, who was on the Indians, Charlie Sheen, who was the fastball pitcher. So this guy really had trouble catching fly balls. I mean, honestly, I'm not, just couldn't catch a fly ball. I mean, and we tried and we worked and things like that. And so we would play him and things like that. He played right field. I played first base. But then there's the whole manipulation intent. And this is a bit, I mean, and this is sort of a story slash joke slash what is there any reality to the programming that's created the effect? Oh, and also it's this whole the other thing is pay to play. We actually paid for our uniforms. I was the manager. I formed the team. I put everything together. I picked out the uniforms. Everybody paid. We had equipment. This was we weren't, and we practiced 2 or 3 days a week out at LSU, right across from the swim field. I think they actually built a new Alex Fox Stadium where we used to practice, um, right near the football field. So the one of the hardball, I guess you would say. So it's one of the other main things is hardball, paying to play and not getting paid for major MLB, and my initials being BLM, and the hardball MLB. And so the whole mentality of paying to play, or that whole precedence there, and then the JV once again, and the John Vaughn, and he really, like I said, couldn't catch. I mean, I'm not even sure if that was his. I remember his initials being JV, but I don't think his name was exactly. I said that was the Ricky Vaughn thing. So he, could not catch a fly ball, couldn't make contact with a pitch. So was there a Freaky Friday transference? Is that why I was even lower down into the dungeon? You know what I mean? That mentality of hack. Because we are allowed, because this billion-dollar cottage industry, in order to be manipulated by business, is being handled by some small-time mobsters. I mean, small-time, kids, basically. It really is. But they allow the kid. They basically lock me out and allow the kids to do the dirty work, just like a restaurant or something like that. Um, so then it gets into the whole rank distribution thing. This is another. So that's just all part. Oh yeah, the JV. It is. It really is. There's a whole bunch of JV. Jacob Valero was an Israeli banker from like the 1800s. Valero Oil. I mean, there's all sorts of the JV thing going on here. But what they've done is basically they're segregating the source. It's like chopping off the head to eat the body. That sort of, that sort of justification. When in actuality, I just question the whole legality of it. While my family is still kidnapped, and I mean the whole family is still basically the zoo thing, and that could go back to the whole notion of birthright and the eldest heir. Therefore, I get screwed, so the whole family gets screwed. Just like if I would get any of the assets, the whole family, that sort of mentality. So we've got the blood rank. And what's gone on is through generations, they've built structures into the family tree. So like my great-grandfather Max, my grandfather Louis, and it's the initials MM, LNM, LM, and now BLM. And so what they've done is they've built where the blood doesn't transfer, basically. What's going on is, so there's different ways where it's distributed before the blood doesn't even get to the blood. And there's all sorts of schemes going on with that sort of thing. And the whole LM thing with my grandfather, Louis Marx, is definitely, what's going on is none of his, there's a diversion bypass of the genetic propensity or the birthright or whatever that's distributed through, there's different LM. There's a lot of Liberty Mutual, there's Les Miles, there's Les Miserables, and there's what I call Les Miseries, the whole Kathy Bates, the guy up there in the bed with the broken foot, which is definitely how I feel most of the time. So what's going on is the blood gets cut off. So like it doesn't transfer from generation to generation because it's not tangible. It's not tangible assets, but they can manufacture. Others are manufacturing. We're not allowed. I'm trying to manufacture tangible, but I'm not allowed. So that's part of the thing. So you got the Max, and then the LM, and now the BLM, and now it's all these segregated system, caste system, so the blood's cut off while they're worshiping the rank system. That's why I'm lowered down to my generation. I'm lowered down, even though I'm the eldest heir into the blood, I'm lowered down to this really low level to keep it intact. Just doesn't seem real. I mean, honestly, it seems a lot of revenge going on here, first of all, which is bad business. And I mean, we're just hacked small in order to be maintained control of. And then the whole reverse the curse thing. So, like I said, they try to take it. Like I played baseball. I mean, it's a big deal that we used to spend a lot of time. I got injured. I had sprained ankle the entire season. We spent 3 or 4 afternoons a week practicing baseball, and a lot of time. It was fun. That's all it was. It was entertainment. But the precedence is set. Pay to play, most notably, and the JV thing was just another indication story. Didn't mean to be mean in any aspect, but I do see that to where I've been hacked down so low that I can't even catch a fly ball to be reverent sympathy. That sort of mentality. This is just instances of the ludicrous, ridiculous nature of what's actually going on. I'm telling you, it's pay to play, though, is what really is. It's like, and then it's also reverent for the White Sox or the Black Sox, the Comiskey. Now you got one of the owners. They're considered to me, I'm reverent to the players and the owners. So now they've got, all by the short and curly, so I can't even really get anything going on. So, like I said, then it gets into the distribution, the ranks, or the family is actually cut out of the loop. There's loopholes of the family blood where they're shrinking down the power that's being distributed. And I'm just questioning the whole validity of the state. And I mean, sure, Louisiana could have been turned into a good empire sort of thing, trade empire with Latin America, which it should have done, but instead they didn't. Basically, they protected, the chemistry is what's going on. I think they protected the drug labs is what's going on in my estimation in most of it. So Louisiana was then butchered in order to protect. But the problem is, who are we benefiting here? And that's another reason I've been tortured so long, is they're trying to turn my grandfather. I remember going to the American Legion every week. They were in the Navy. My family. But so in order to really bury the bodies, they had to torture me extreme. That's where that whole last resort, that show about getting killed by your own country on ABC. I mean, literally, it was war profiteering going on. But I was locked out and tortured, as an extortion hostage in order to try to make me so mad that I would seem anti-American. Then they could spin that around, so then they stole home because I was from Washington Parish. It's just a real, I was kidnapped hostage for many years in order to steal home. That sort of mentality. I was just the base. While everybody did the Gulliver's Travel thing around me. So, in estimation, what's really going on is there's all sorts of just manipulation, and it's an inability of control. Honestly, it's just a total inability of control or